Hi, I want to address a few of the points that were brought up by Rising Stardust, is his YouTube channel. I'm very glad that someone is actually speaking out and talking about the Zeitgeist movement and looking at what he feels are some of the issues that he finds with the TZM and his San Jose chapter. And I think that's awesome that somebody's actually doing what they're doing and speaking about their feelings about their situation and talking about the movement in general and some of the issues that we've gotten maybe could improve upon. And I really dig the fact that somebody's actually taken the time to do that. So thank you, Rising Stardust. However, I do want to then lead into a few other things here. You bring up a huge importance on our current time, and yes, we do live in interesting times and such. And I just don't want our egos to get too involved into the importance of the moment stuff. I don't. Um, again, I just fear ego being involved, and I understand your frustrations and how much you want things to progress. I too, every day, struggle with it, thinking about like, this is silly. Why aren't things being done this way? This is silly too. Why isn't this happening? And it would fix this problem. Like, if only the government would just listen to our Facebook statuses. Like, we get the problems. We really do. So Rising Stardust, I appreciate you for understanding on that level. That's really good. Thank you. Um, the idea of a TZM brand and such kind of really bothers me a lot. I am also of the Burning Man community. Like we kind of have these 10 principles, and one of them is decommodification, and I believe that also has always been represented in the anti-consumeristic message that TZM kind of gives, and it really kind of bothers me the whole concept of a TZM brand of any sort and getting money involved on that level, not out of fear of us getting involved in the system, although that's part of it. It's just the whole concept of we're commodifying our idea, which is supposed to be like anti-consumeristic, and I don't like the logic there. It kind of breaks my brain a bit, and I appreciate that you want to take part in the system as such. I think that's awesome in order to be able to try and change it. I believe we need it all. It's going to take people on the outside of the system and on the inside of the system to make things happen. And if you wish to spend your money towards that end, do it. Just go do it. I mean, there's been like Philly group here. We pulled our resources together and got a DVD burner, and we put out over 600 DVDs. Getting addendum and its little like 5 pack of different uh, videos that are in there, it felt really good to be able to put those in people's hands and talk to the people about these ideas. However, the idea of us becoming some sort of monetary entity of any sort, just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And like, I appreciate everything that Neil has done, especially his conversation with Stefan Molyneux that you brought up. I think that's a really great one. People should, just to catch up to where things really are, have progressed with the situation and the whole conversation itself. I think that's really good that people should like listen to that episode. Um, However, a lot of people give Neil a lot of grief over him uh, requesting money for his activism and such, and that's the reason why I personally do all of my stuff for free and put all of my videos and all of my podcasts and whatnot out there for free. That said, you then further went on to Peter Joseph as a leader. You brought up and signing off on all these different uh, intentional community RE communities. Now, I just did a podcast on Zeitgeist Movement Philly Radio. Like, I started a Philly podcast, and I had a few guys on who are trying to do exactly that. So I am, as a part of TZM, trying to support those ideas and get them out there. I've even suggested that because I've been to the Burning Man stuff and I understand that logic behind that as well. And I also have been to some stuff about Earth ships. And I think they would be a really beautiful marriage of ideals and concepts as well. And people could just go out there and create themselves their own community that's RBE based, and it's like you're literally taking trash from the earth, like old tires and stuff, and making your homes sustainable homes when it comes to earthships. And I think that is a really great place that people should maybe, if they want to get off the grid, look towards that sort of thing. If they want to spend their money for personal ways, if they want to make it for the whole world, call up Douglas Millett. Look him up on Facebook. He has some amazing ideas where he wants to create this like building that can just produce food for free, like constantly automated. And I think he made a joke that it's basically like a salad shooter. It's got all the basic components for like a salad, and it'll continuously put that out for like 1,200 people or something a year. I think that's an amazing concept and a great place to start. Um, Ideas within the system. You could also go, if you ever happen to get involved with, say, Scott Keller and the rest of the U.S. Transformation Party, they are trying to get ideas into the mainstream also by specifically creating themselves a political platform which mirrors and mimics all of the ideals that TZM and the Venus Project really stand for anyway. So that said, that's another thing that you could always also get into if you want to start putting money somewhere. Maybe that might be a way to go, and maybe we could be another third party, whatever you want to call it. Not that like this would then make it actually like a fourth party or fifth party with it, like Greens and Libertarians. So that kind of bothers me with that math and calling it just a third party. But that's also for another argument. So we will leave that for later. Um, yeah, I don't like the idea that Peter Joseph needs to sign off on anything, was the whole point. He doesn't need to sign off on Douglas Millett doing anything. He doesn't need to sign off on me building an Earthship for myself. The idea that I thought was started with all of this um, of TZM was that we were to become our own leaders, and each individual was to become our own leader, so that we needed no other leaders or no other rulers specifically. I really like that part of our ideals, and I want to keep that as part of our ideals continuously. If other people want, I don't want to get involved in that political process, but I fully support those that want to. I think Scott Keller is a great dude. I have spoken with him on a few occasions before. I think that if you want to get involved in that direction, head towards it. And when you get there, shut down the Federal Reserve and stop welfare. So this way, all these conservatives and Tea Party people can stop crying about there being welfare, and you can stop welfare and end it fully by creating a bunch of skyscraper vertical farms that give out the food for free in the middle of the ghetto. And in this way, you've taken care of both civic responsibility and immediacy of people being in poverty, as well as then taking the idea of getting us off the Federal Reserve and not dumping all that money into a continual project year after year after year after year after year. And that, because that's what food stamps is. And you could end food stamps tomorrow by creating vertical farms in a city and just giving the food out for free. So it makes no sense that we haven't done this for a long time. Bucky Fuller was talking about it during the 30s and 40s. And then in 1974, Fresco was on TV again and stuff. And like, these ideas have been around for a long time, and there's no reason to continue our current monetary paradigm. So getting involved in it sounds ridiculous to me, but you do what you think is right, because you may find that that is a part of the necessity of what you think the world is going to do. So be my guest, put your money towards it, have fun. Um, the continual stuff about the people linking the 9/11 truth movement with TZM is also frustrating. I deal with it all the time. I believe that sustainability and 9/11 truth are two totally separate ideas. And when I most of the time when I personally do my activism towards 9/11 truth, I kind of credit it all towards we are change, and I like the idea that I can then work within the different groups. Thrive's another group out there as well. They aren't on the same tip with exactly everything that we're talking about. They talk about sustainable energy in a different way through ideas like using Tesla's stuff and whatnot. And I like that concept also. To unoccult Tesla's knowledge is also something that needs to be done. Um, they talk about Thrive Group talks about aliens and such also, but it's also some of the most convincing information about aliens I've seen out there. So I highly recommend that people look into that, and we do cross-reference our stuff with different groups, and we try to get our ideas out there into different groups. I'm not I'm not talking about infiltrating them or anything. That's kind of silly. But I'm talking about how like the TZM group here in Philly, we are huge friends and are just as much part of TZM as we are a part of another group called Truth, Freedom, Prosperity. And they are also a great group of people who care about uh, similar ideals when it comes to the end of tyranny and the end of the Federal Reserve. However, they want to go the whole route of most of them, not all, but most of them want to go the whole route of, say, Stefan Molyneux and the free market and such. And it's possibly just as valid. I could see a free market possibly working where it freed, truly free, to allow us to move towards all the sustainable ideas and the moving of the money into these sustainable ideas that you're talking about. In that capacity, might make things uh, go smoother when it comes to dealing with all the people that can't think outside the box of money. However, if you can think outside the box of money and that whole Tesseract trap of once you think outside the money, you still have to deal with the legalities. Like I can't just go and build a Earthship right now. I would get in trouble. I would probably get fined for like dragging tires out to a field and trying to start my project, even though the field isn't owned by anyone. It's just public land, public domain, so on. The idea of the 9/11 truth movement also going nowhere also bothers me as well. There are more people involved in that these days than you can imagine. So same thing with TZM. Our numbers are swelling in ways that are hard to perceive. I have found it difficult to perceive myself and have also felt frustration on the idea that we haven't gone anywhere and so on and so forth. But when I had on different people in my podcast, like when I was first talking with Brandy Hume, she brought up the idea to me that uh, people who are consciously aware at the level of, say, the Zeitgeist movement, there are only so many of us on this planet that have the knowledge that we have. So we need to continue to spread it. Our numbers have nearly doubled in the last year, year and a half. And there are a lot of people in this world who are more consciously aware of these ideas than you can imagine. However, we're not linked together enough and we don't know about each other's existence well enough to become a full force the way, say, a political party exists today. Um, that's pretty much my response to your stuff, man. Good luck. I feel you when it comes to your frustrations. I really do. There are times that I am frustrated with the Zeitgeist movement. Also, the whole split from the Venus Project itself was silly beyond repair, and the egos that were involved in that were quite disturbing. However, I still love and respect the people who have brought me all this information. Like, as much as I don't care about the idea of Peter Joseph being some sort of leader, because I think we all are, I am just as equal in the Zeitgeist movement as he is. Why his opinion is valued over yours or mine or anyone else's is beyond me. I don't get it. He's just as smart as anyone else. We are just as smart as him. And Terence McKenna put it the best, like no one is smarter than you. And even if so, what is their knowledge and wisdom and understanding of it going to do you if you don't understand it yourself? So good luck to you, man.